Good morning, friends. My name is Paritosh Basu. I have about 34 years of corporate experience till 2013. After that, I got into academics in management education as a senior professor of NMIMS University School of Business Management. I have finished 9 years tenure with them, and presently I am an adjunct faculty member of Indian Institute of Management, Kozhikode. I am also engaged in consulting, research, authorship, and several other faculty development and management development activities. My last two assignments in corporate world was that of CFO of Reliance Communications till 2008 and Global Group Controller of SL Group till 2013. And thereafter, I joined. Rest you can get to know about me from the LinkedIn, and I have about 20,800 plus connections in LinkedIn. You can get to know more about me there. You can see my presentation, is that right? Can you see my presentation?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You can see some of my work here. I will request all of you to kindly switch off your video and keep your audio open. If you have any queries at the moment, you can kindly put it in a chat box. Towards the end, I'll keep about 15 minutes time free for discussion, and I will request Ms. Aishwarya to please read out from the chat box the queries, and I can answer them one by one. You can also connect me through the personal YouTube channel of mine, where there are 72 videos, and many of you are concerned with master classes, my keynote speeches, etc. Those on digital transformation and digital technologies. So you can be benefited from the inputs which are available there. Our today's session is on valuation and application of artificial intelligence. May I request you that if you have not by now gone through my paper on valuation of equity share, the perspective of a valuer, which was published by your own institution, that is RVO, Registered Valuers Organization of ICMAI, you can read that, and some of the fundamentals which are considered there, I will be presenting to you just as an introduction to today's session. Our today's session has got predominantly the idea of discussing the legal and ethical aspects of business valuation when you resort to artificial intelligence for valuation processes and purposes. However, I strongly feel that unless we have a bit of recapitulation of the valuation processes and the fundamentals of artificial intelligence, perhaps it will not be right on my part to get into the ethical dimensions, application dimensions, and the legal dimensions of artificial intelligence in the context of business valuation. Have you already gone through some of the classes of artificial intelligence as a technology?
Yes, sir,
Participants?
we have done a few basics.
Yes, sir.
You have some fundamental ideas about artificial intelligence, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. What I will do, I'll quickly pass through that only to the extent of items which are necessary or which you can adopt and apply for artificial intelligence tools to the task of your valuation of business and equity shares when I will say valuation, I will be synonymously applying both business valuation and equity valuation, because without business valuation, you cannot go to the next step of equity valuation. So our agenda points are fundamentals of business valuation, AI and advancements. We'll do a reflective overview of fundamentals and applications. Then we'll talk about digital transformation with AI and AI TRiSM. This particular point we will bring in only from the perspective where you are running a firm of valuers, and you as an organization of valuers, or you as a service provider group of valuation, applying AI as a tool across your organization. From that perspective, we'll talk about digital transformation. Then we'll talk about the adoption perspectives of AI application and AI technology and tools. Then we'll come to the core of our topic today, ethical dimensions of business and ethics taxonomy. And finally, we'll get to the legal dimensions of digital transformation. Is that fine? I acknowledge that I'll be using a lot of graphics which are freely available in cyberspace, and that those graphics are not created by me, and I acknowledge their contribution of those unknown people in my work, which I'll be not using for commercial purpose, but only for the purpose of propagating knowledge. Now, I'll be very quickly running through key fundamentals of valuation of business and equity. You are seeing this slide, which I taught in IIM Codicode, and of course, also in my NMIMS time. So let me run through it. But before that, I have a questions to you. You can read this question right from this slide, all of you. Anuradha, can you read this slide? Is this
Yes,
slide
sir. It's
available?
visible.
The $1 trillion
Yes, sir.
question? Okay.
Yes,
My
sir.
question is, can and should your valuation of a business or equity share of the same company differ if by chance you are valuing it from the side of a buyer or seller in an M&A transaction? I repeat the question. Can and should your valuation of a business or equity share of the same company differ if by chance you are valuing it sorry, from the side of a buyer or seller in an M&A transaction? Can you just respond to me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Should
The
it
price,
differ? Should it not differ?
It will differ.
it will differ, sir.
All of you are of the
Because
same view, it will differ. Is there anybody who should say, or who is of the view that it should not differ? I think none. So I take it that everybody feels that if you are valuing the same business or same set of value generating assets from the buyer side or the seller side, it should differ. And this, your answer is no different than the majority of answers I got while teaching this in classes. But let me tell you, as a professional valuer, and I repeat, as a professional valuer, maintaining all ethics of valuation, can you value the same asset in two different values, irrespective of you are in buyer side or seller side? Answer is no. Because the valuation standards, the valuation profession teaches you to value a particular asset to the intrinsic core value of it, irrespective of you are a buyer side valuer or a seller side valuer. The answer is big no. Because an asset's value generating capability over a defined period of time cannot be different if you are a buy-side valuer and a sell-side valuer. Is there any difference in opinion in what I have said?
Yes, sir. I beg to differ because value and price are two different things. Price
I'm not
can
talking
logically
about
be the
price.
same.
I'm not talking
Yeah,
about price. Price is
but
a
the
matter
same,
of negotiation after the value
correct.
is determined. But
Yes.
value is value.
So value, sir, would depend a lot upon the purpose for which the asset is being valued.
The purpose here I have
For a,
defined in the question. Purpose is M&A
correct, sir.
transaction.
But there
So
can be
for an
synergy value,
M&A
no, sir?
transaction also,
I think
yes,
It is
there
not
could be
synergy
different
valuation.
perspectives.
My question is very
Suraj not
categorically
being
clear.
quite on
My
it. I
question
mean,
is,
good but not exceptional like he was in the last tour here. And so there has been extra responsibility.
my question is, it's a business value. It's for an M&A transaction. And synergy is not a question here. Synergy is a different valuation exercise altogether. And we are not talking about pricing of the deal because of the equity share, because pricing is a matter of negotiation between the buyer and the seller once the valuation is given to them. Valuation serves
Right,
as a
sir.
datum for them or a pollster
Even
for
in an, sorry for interrupting you, sir, but even in an M&A transaction, there is a matter of control, like who will get the control and all. So
the
the
control
value from the
premium is
buyer's
again
and seller's
different.
side will vary.
Control premium is again different. Control premium is in addition to the valuation, because the seller of the equity share or the business is giving the destiny of their own future financial earnings from the asset to you. So in addition to the valuation, they will add a control premium, which is not a matter of valuation of the business. Control premium is again a matter of negotiation between the buyer and the seller. Could I explain to you, Anuradha?
I
Yes, sir.
also differ. I also differ because when there is a transactions, the objective of buyer and seller may be also different. So when there is a transferor company and transferee company, not necessarily in the same transaction, their objectives are also the same. So there has to be a different view, and when there are different views, the price may differ.
Mr. Shah, my request you to put yourself not as a buyer, not as a seller. You are a valuation professional. You have been given to find out the intrinsic value of an asset or a set of assets. After that, what the buyer and the seller will do from the perspective of their own objective, that's a different matter of negotiation and pricing of the asset.
Yes, sir, I agree with you. But under the IVS also, there is a premise of the value. When we say premise of the value, then there are the different premises under which the valuation is to be undertaken. And
Okay.
M&A is not a premise of the value. M&A is the ultimately objective of the value.
Okay, fine. My research on this subject around the world reveals me and prompts me to say that as a valuer, no one can value an asset differently from whatever perspective it is, because he or she is not the transactor of the business. He or she is the professional to find the value. But that's beyond the point. It's relevant to the extent of valuation as an exercise. Let me come to this section, which you may be much better aware than me. Section 247 of the Indian Companies Act. I'll come to clause 2B and 2C first, and then go to the overriding clause, subclause 2B and 2C, or then go to the main sentence of the clause 1. Subclause 2B and C says, exercise due to diligence while while performing the functions as a valuer. That means every single valuer who is professional who is appointed uh, as a valuer, he must exercise due diligence while performing the functions as a valuer. So due diligence is a must, and due diligence, when you do, it is not only document-based due diligence, it is also database, data-oriented due diligence. for that huge amount of data are to be churned and analyzed. The second clause, 2C, the valuer must make the valuation in accordance with such rules as may be prescribed. That means the government will prescribe the rules and the valuer must abide by. The overarching clause 1 says that it shall be valued by a person having such qualifications and experience and registered as a valuer in such manner on such terms and conditions as may be prescribed and appointed by the audit committee or in absence by the board. That means the law wants you to be adequately qualified and adequately experienced in addition to be a registered valuer to apply your valuation skills and judgments for valuation. Okay, coming from this perspective or this clause underlying objective, it says that if you are not adequately qualified and skilled enough to apply the valuation tools, techniques, methodologies, create assumptions, then of course you are not eligible to do the valuation. So it does indicate to us that we shall have to be equally equipped with knowledge, application-oriented skills for application of AI-related tools, that is artificial intelligence-related tools. I will leave at that. And I repeat my point, as I said initially, please put your questions in the chat box as I progress, and keep reference of the slide number so that I can refer them after I finish my presentation. Our session is up to 11:30. In between, we'll have a 5 minutes break. Okay, now let us go to the next slide. The valuation, when we do, we try, we'll not go through the entire slide. I will share these with you. I am sure the Institute will share with you my slides. The intrinsic value of a company is the value of the assets, earnings to capability to earn in future, and including the assets of the business with both tangible and intangible factors. That means if we apply the accounting standard concept, there is a CGU. A business can be consisting of one CGU, or it can be consisting of more than one CGU. The risk and reward and the influence of the external factors of the CGUs may differ or may be the same. Suppose if an industry is essentially in FMCG and it has got 3, 4, 5 CGUs, that is cash generating units. One is producing wearable clothes, one is producing leather, shoes, which are consumable, consumer semi-durables, etc. The external factors will be same here. But if you are valuing a conglomerate where one set of asset is engaged in, say, FMCG industry, the other set of assets and people are engaged in rendering services, then of course your valuation should be in 2 modules. One is for the service module and one is for the module which are applicable for the FMCG industry, manufacturing and distribution. But whatever it is, the objective of ours is to predict a future market price for the asset, which is going to be the potential market price. Potential market price means if the company is listed, or if the price of the equity share of the company is traded by and between people in private market or in public market, it should have an acceptable market price for buying and selling of profit. And it must, if the asset price is not being given by the market people to the extent it is being asked for, at least it should reduce the loss from the asset pricing. So in the long run, as you know, the market price of any valuation in value or equity share of business is equal to its intrinsic value. That is the fundamental principles which are established since 1889. So while doing a valuation, we do a lot of non-financial factor analysis and consideration like product life cycle, business model, then business model here like Shopper Stop. It has got many business model. One is the renting of shopping space or retailing space. Other is the trading space, trading business module. They have got another business module of getting their products manufactured and sold under their brand. So these are three different modules of business. So you look at the business models and the revenue model, non-financial factors, drivers and dampeners of growth you look at, because not always the financial factors drive or dampen. There are geopolitical, geophysical, then natural factors also drive it. Business ecosystem also drives business ecosystem where now, like as of now, government is thinking about increasing the expendable surplus of people so that FMCG industry gets the booster. So government is thinking of reducing the income tax of low income group. So competitive advantage also you look at, because competitive advantage generates a higher capability of growth and higher market share. So competitive advantage is another important non-financial factor you consider. So keeping all this in view, a lot of work happened, a lot of perception issues comes in the valuation process regarding the products and the brand, the business groups and its corporate governance and leadership, like Berkshire Hathaway's king of investors. Warren Buffett used to say, I don't invest in assets, I invest in people who run the assets. So leadership is an important factor in that. ESG score and DEI score, that is also becoming important. And in the case of Tata Motors, as you see, companies like Tata's, etc., you can say vision, mission, values are important. Strategic plans for growth is important, and mergers, acquisition, and demergers. These are some of the non-intrinsic factors which we apply. What are our drivers for growth for which AI tools would be useful? One is the market size, super sales mix and value price, that is the revenue. Then comes the operating margin as the driver of valuation. In that situation, the material price, the staffing levels and wage rates are important. Comes the taxes side, which is, of course, a geopolitical factor, political economics factor. Then comes the working capital, which are guzzlers of interest. So that is also another driver of valuation. Comes the plant life, which decides the future capital expenditure to continue with the existing CGU for maintenance capex and sustenance capex. So the drivers are of two groups. One is the capital driver group and another is the business driver group. And these drivers ultimately decides the free cash flow, which is essentially important for us. So a lot of assumptions have to be set, and assumptions can only be set when you have insights of the future, insights of the past, so that you can set the assumptions for how the business will perform in future. So in some of the valuation methods, our AI database, AI may not be important that in detail, like a book value of assets. It may not be the evaluated value of assets. AI may not be important. But if you are doing relative valuation of assets, where you apply times earnings, EV/EBITDA, or you apply EV to sales, in addition to the fundamental valuation based on DCF model, where the entire valuation depends upon complete modeling by forecasting finding the near most peer company or nearmost peer company, that selection may, to a certain extent, can be done by application of AI. So, other than fundamental valuation applying DCF model, application of AI is also there for financial modeling, which are required for DCF model, but relative valuation which are required for EV EBITDA, EV sales, etc., etc. Even for capitalization of profit, which are rarely applied by valuation modelers, they at times apply future maintainable profit. And when you calculate the future maintainable profit, you have to do some assumptions. And in that case, AI also can be applied. Now, there are 18 steps for valuation according to me. I created these slides when I was teaching in IIM, NMIMS, then I apply this now also in my present teaching in IIM Kozhikode. So there, I find that there are 18 steps in valuation. These 18 steps are like this, which I will not discuss in detail. I'll just glance through them. First, the macroeconomic analysis, which will be the overarching environment in which the business will operate, which you are going to value. So there you need to do a lot of data analysis in the context of how the country's economy, or if the business also includes sizable sales in export, how the concerned countries where the exports are done, their economy will perform. Then you get into the Pestle and Porter 5 analysis before doing valuation to understand how the sector in which your concerned company, which you're going to value, is going to perform from the context of Pestle analysis and Porter 5 analysis. Pestle is political, economic, societal, technical, legal, and ethical dimensions of business. Now, after Pestle analysis, you review the public information about the conglomerate or the business groups which you are valuing. Now, this public information collection, today's tool called generative AI, or popularly known as ChatGPT or Gemini of Google, this tool can be applied for item number 3 here, which is data collection from the open source data available from the company, which are publicly available. Then comes your conversation with the leadership team for SWOTC, that is SWOT analysis and challenge analysis, risk analysis of the company. Here again, you will be applying some bit of data analysis after you get the inputs from the leadership team of the company. Then you go for preparation of the preliminary earning model. After you do up to step number 4, you are sufficiently equipped with the insight from the data, which will help you to create the assumptions for the first model you are going to create. Okay, from that model, when you do the financial statement, then you do the step number 6, comparative review and analysis of the result in step number 5 vis-a-vis the industry peer. Because you must see how the assumptions are matching with what is happening in the industry peer or other valuations recently done. Here again, selection of the industry peer, you can apply the model of AI. Then comes your step number 7, review and finalize operating assumptions with risk-enabled performance management. I do not know whether you are aware of this tool called REPM, or risk-enabled performance management. You must understand the risk factors in order to understand the risk factors of your client company, you must study the MD&A section of the annual report of the company. And if you want to understand the associate risk factors of the industry as a whole, then of course you must go to the risk factor analysis in other peer companies of the organization which you are valuing. Then you have to review and finalize the assumptions. And go with a risk factor embedded in your valuation. Then you go for WACC calculation, that is point number 9. Step number 9, you do go for WACC calculation. Here again, you have to do some statistical analysis of past performance and also the WACC analysis of the nearest couple of peer companies and the best in the industry. Here again, there can be applicability of certain AI tools, which I will discuss with you soon. And then you go to decide the final base case. Then you do the sensitivity analysis, which is, of course, not much of AI applicability is there. Then you calculate the EBITDA, DCF, etc. And if you are applying a dual modular valuation, that is both DCF and relative valuation, then you go for selection of the valuation tools that will apply other than DCF. Coming to the next model is establish the intrinsic value. Then you conduct a supervisory review of the valuation. That means other than the team which has done the first level valuation, it goes to a supervisory valuation. That means people who review, they will review. Then you prepare the report. Then you get the report reviewed by another specialist or a third-party reviewer who is not at all connected with your firm. And finally, you publish the report and follow up. In this entire process, up to level step number 6, 7, and 8, very important steps of getting insight from data. Even for 9 also, application of AI is possible. Now, let us quickly understand what is artificial intelligence. I will take the help of Oxford Dictionary because that's the book I believe is the best teacher or the best book for understanding fundamental. Artificial participants, I still request you to please keep putting your questions in the chat box so that I can answer them at the end. I'll keep about 10 to 12 minutes gap for the question and answer. And since it's a 90 minutes session, I don't think there is any necessity to give a break. If anybody feels to have a break for 5-7 minutes, he or she can definitely go. Don't worry, I don't need a break for that matter. Now, the word artificial is something which Oxford Dictionary defines made or produced by human beings other than the nature. That means anything which is not a creation of nature is artificial. That is the first definition. And what is intelligence? Intelligence means ability to acquire knowledge and skills. Okay. Ability to acquire knowledge and skills is equal to intelligence. Now artificial intelligence talks about a computer capability, what human being can do and recognize, a computer can do and recognize in a much voluminous way and much faster, because human capability to process numbers or process documents are much limited. So cognitive intelligence comes into the picture. Cognitive means the capability to recognize, the intelligence for cognition or ability to recognize. Now, if I punch these 3 words into an infused box, if I put these 3 words into a box and shake up, we get the definition of artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is the theory and development of computer systems which can perform tasks normally requiring human intelligence, visual perception, speech recognition, decision making, and translation. So Visual perception and translation and decision making. What is important for you as a valuer is the decision making. That means you have to you have to process tons of data to take certain decisions about the valuation you will do, particularly in terms of setting assumptions and selecting the data which will be reliable. So artificial intelligence is important today, but the paradox is, what is the paradox? Paradox is, earlier it used to be what is not done by nature is artificial intelligence. But now, in the context of AI as a technology, what is not done by human being and done by computer, it is artificial. So the movement is from nature to human being to computer. See the blue words. Sorry, my digital pen at the moment is not working. That's why I can't point out. So it is nature to human being and human being to computer and computer to human being. That means at the end of the day, whether you do apply artificial intelligence or not, the ultimate judgment is you as the valuer. And the inference is, then from this definition, the inference that you can do, artificial intelligence is the ability of a computing machine to perform a task that human being can perform. Okay, so that is what is something which human being tells the machine, trains the machine to perform what it can do using gigantic set of data which human being as an individual cannot do or even not possible in Excel. Okay, so that is what is artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence, of course, has got 3 stages, which is artificial narrow intelligence, which is used for predicting weather. It's only data and learning from data and predicting. Artificial general intelligence, which a human being can do, the machine can do, like recognize a voice or translate from English to Hindi or Hindi English to Bengali or Bengali to English, etc. And artificial super intelligence. Artificial super intelligence is something which is artificial super intelligence is something which is not there at the moment. Perhaps the technology is step by step going towards that. But the 2 questions which I will request you to keep in mind while you apply artificial intelligence are these 2. Will AI be able to substitute senior professionals' wisdom and experiential learning by mimicking how their brains deal with the issues involving ethics, morality, emotion, and passion? You as a senior professional for valuation and with your background in finance, can you be replaced by the machine? And can machine equally apply all those tools, techniques, and methodology for valuation, equally maintaining ethics, morality, emotion, and passion? That's the big question, which I will request you to keep in mind and continuously find answer for. The next question is, will the stage of artificial super intelligence ever come when AI will overtake the valuation by overtaking the human intelligence? It does mean that you give the annual balance sheet profit and loss of our last 5 years into a tool, and the tool will apply everything wherever it wants to apply, make assumption, create a complete model, and give you the valuation. You don't have to do anything. That is called agentic AI. AI becomes an agent of you. You instruct, give independence the AI to perform, and AI will do that. So artificial intelligence universe is a big universe. One is artificial intelligence, artificial machine learning. Under machine learning, the universe is neural network. Under neural network, the universe is deep learning. Under deep learning, it is generative AI. And now another one has come, which is agentic AI. I don't want to get into all this because I believe you have gone through the class of artificial intelligence. Now, what is the research-based conclusion which I got? because I do a lot of research. I've written a book on digital transformation, which is of 569 pages. And I request you to please collect, if possible, one copy of the book, which is being sold by the Institute of Cost Accountants of India, where I have dealt with these aspects with a lot of research work. The first question is, predicting future is not a magic. So when you do the prediction or forecasting for creating a DCF model, it's not a magic. It's all large data volume you will be doing. Human and AI are inextricably linked. That means today, if you avoid AI and say that, no, I will do my own everything and I don't want to take AI, it will not only be expensive and time-consuming process, it will have errors creeping in, which you can avoid by introducing AI tools into your valuation process. What you have to do is the bold word which I've used in the fourth bullet, fixing the gap between AI, legal and ethical issues. That means you as an individual, you have sympathy, empathy, emotion, capability, you have ethical values, and you have your experiential learning points of 30, 40 years beyond you, which AI cannot have. So fixing the gap between AI, legal and ethical issues is highly strenuous because modeling machines like humans is not possible. But bidding one's time for such development to take effect while suffering various challenges by machine that affect society mentally, physically, economically is also not the recourse. That means when you deal with a complex valuation aspect, you are having challenges and you have a lot of mental and physical strain, and there is a lot of economics involved in your cost factor. Valuation, if your competitors have adopted, you cannot avoid adopting. And the section 247 says that you have to be equally equipped with the knowledge of artificial intelligence. So in a given legal structure of the country, you have to have an implementation of artificial intelligence where you require both the tool and your own wisdom, judgment, experience, ethics, etc., for introducing fairness, justice, transparency into the AI tool and the data you will select for applying the AI tool. So this slide gives us a lesson that AI is here to stay and AI is here to be further capable. The question is, can I stay away? Answer is no. Can I use it? The answer is yes. But in between these two answers, the point is what I as a professional should do while using the AI. That's the most important factor here. Okay. Sorry, my slide is not getting changed. So what are the advancement you have? And I will not deal with this particular slide in detail because you have knowledge about it. Today you have generative AI, you have agentic AI, where you give a high degree of independence to the tool, AI tool, and AI tool does the work for you. You have RAG, which is retrieval augmented generation, where like generative AI, the AI tool cannot need not only restrict itself to the database, it can decide to scrape other databases to which you have exposed the tool. Like if you are applying generative AI and telling that Please give me the sentences of risks which have been applied in FMCG companies of India by the directors in their management discussion and analysis section of the board report or the annual report. Suppose you do a prompt to ChatGPT or generative AI, produce a summary of the word risk related sentence, and it can give. But it will restrict itself to only the management discussion analysis section. But if you use retrieval augmented generation, then the tool will apply its own judgment and use many other literature, maybe research reports also, which are not essentially MD&A sections of various corporations. Then you have artificial neural network. Neural network is the AI can use the human intelligence oriented step-by-step deducing what it should do. And finally, predictive AI. AI can today predict based on the given data, it can detect the future data, which is also called synthetic data. So in terms of AI's applications, you have expert systems with complex advanced tools. You have natural languages application for machine translation, content extraction. Suppose you want to study the German countries where the annual report is published in German language, or in France, FMCG companies where annual report is translated in French. So in those cases, if you want to study those companies, you can use the translator also. Then, of course, you go for machine learning by applying deep learning, random forest, regression and a classifier, etc. Clustering of data you can do. You can do vision analysis by reduction of dimensions, deep learning, convolutional and recurrent neutral network, etc., etc. Finally, you can also apply robotics. In valuation, I exercised my brain quite a lot, and I thought whether robotic process application automation can be done on valuation tools. Since valuation tool is not a routine mundane exercise, and it is more of a non-one-time exercise, that is, it is a more of a each company's valuation is unique of its kind, and it's not repetitive. And it is not a one time, that is, it is not a regular transactional systems. RPA application, of course, is not easy. Speech recognition also you can do apply this tool when you are having meetings with stakeholders, with you having discussion for framing your assumptions, but of course they must permit you to do that. Now, when you design the artificial intelligence tools in terms of selecting them, applying them for your design purposes, that is your module design purposes, both your module design and designing the AI tools, you have to apply the design thinking. And you will agree with me that design thinking is an iterative process where if you are not happy with a model which is not giving you the correct answer which you are expecting to, or which you want to, and which you don't believe that it can be, the model is not giving, then you can go for iterative processes. You go for sensitivity analysis to create the final best case, etc. So coming to design thinking basic cases, you have to have a viability of the exercise you are doing, because this valuation exercise is a business for you. So you have to understand the fees you are getting versus the cost you will incur in application of AI, whether you have a viability. Then you have a feasibility, whether the technologies in the given circumstance in which you are operating, whether the technological tools can be applied, because you need a certain kind of machines, computing machines, to apply AI for your valuation tools. And next is desirability, whether you at all need AI. These questions I leave it to you, because unless the given circumstances are known to us, we cannot, of course, design the valuation model. So given that what it is, you go for designing the valuation model, right? Now, when you go for designing the valuation model, what you do is you do application, right? Sorry. Can you see my presentation? Participants, can you see my presentation?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Okay. I hope you are, what I'm talking is making sense. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. We'll do a lot of interactive discussion. Give me a few minutes. Let me quickly finish the presentation. Then, of course, we will get into question and answer. We have some time to go for that. Let me select the slide and share. Can you see my slide now? Oh, no. Can you see my slide?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But I can't see it. What is the problem? Just 1 minute. I believe you can see now, right?
It is. Yes. Yes. We can.
Oh God, again I cannot. Just give me 1 minute. Okay, coming to this slide. I'm sorry for the interruption. Coming to this slide of design thinking, let us go to the next slide where we get some more idea. I don't know what is happening. Just give me 1 minute. You can see this slide, right?
We can see.
Okay.
Yes, sir, it's visible to us.
Okay. Now it is not going to the next. Okay. Here is when you get my slide, you can study these. These are the industry sectors where artificial intelligence have been applied. Now, but one point I want to tell you here, that artificial intelligence for you to be studied and applied to valuation because of two perspectives. Perspective number one, where you are using artificial intelligence and taking the benefit which you have to factor in your service cost. That means the valuation fee which you will take. That is one part of the application of AI for you to use. The other part of it is that you will be using artificial intelligence for a company's data which you are valuing, which itself has adopted artificial intelligence already for their business operations. That means that you are a registered valuer, you are valuing Amazon.com or Flipkart.com or certain organizations of Hindustan Labour which are applying artificial intelligence of the highest order. So if you are, as a valuer, going for valuation of a company which has artificial intelligence tools and techniques at their mainstay, then also you should learn artificial intelligence. Otherwise, you will not be able to do valuation of those business which are exclusively dependent on AI. So you as a firm, when you apply artificial intelligence and that becomes your major tool, suppose you are working for, say, PwC, or you are working for American Valuers, where artificial intelligence has to be applied and you are the CEO of American Valuers, what should be your approach to bring in AI tools in your firm, which will be where large number of assistants and partners will be using your valuation tools. Here you should have a digital vision, mission, and policy and SOP. For your organization, you should align your organizational goals. You should create a cross-functional strategic mindset which follow the bold letters. Start the strategic roadmap, and you should create a roadmap for your organization, because day one you cannot apply those. You have to train your people, formulate effective change management plans, evaluate new options for AI and generative AI tools, and finally, dynamically work for the project lifecycle. I will not press upon this slide big way, but keep it in mind that if you want to adopt as a firm of valuers artificial intelligence, your organization should be ready in terms of alignment with digital vision, mission, policy, SOP. Your goals should be aligned. Your cross-functional strategic mindset should be created. You should chart your strategic AI roadmap. You should formulate the effective change. You should evaluate the options and dynamically work on project-wise. In all projects, you may not be able to apply AI, but in some project, you may be able to. Your pricing of valuation to be charged to client will also depend upon. So when you go for valuing a company which has already adopted AI as one of their main business tool for implementing business models and revenue models, there you should see whether the organization has gone through this. So this is my own creation, where I am applying a 12R principles of justifying an AI project, and these 12 R's are selection of the right AI project, executing the same using the right set of data for the right purpose at the right time with the right analytics, deploying the right tools, software, and right manpower for generating the right outputs that are relevant for taking the right decision at the right cost for the right return, updating past learning points at right intervals. That means these 12 R's, that is the right project, right set of data, right purpose, right time, right analysis, right tools and software, right manpower, right output, right decision, right cost, right return, right intervals. According to me, this is what I have written in my personal own book also. According to me, you will not get this in any book which is available in the market. According to me, these 12 words, if you can put together and create a successful blend, then only your own AI project and your client's AI project will be applicable. When you are going to value a business which is completely dependent on AI, like a digital technology-based business, in that situation, you should also base your assumptions. Otherwise, the cost which will be assuming for calculating the EBITDA of these businesses will change. Their manpower may not be right, their tools may not be right, their purpose may not be right, their timing may not be right, their decision and inferences may not be right, their people may not be adequately trained, etc., etc., etc. So if you have to derive the benefits of AI-driven analytics, you have to have lots of work to do. And I'm sure when you have studied AI-driven business analytics, you're aware about this benefit. So I'm skipping this slide. If you want to read, I will share it with you and you can read it later. Now, there are 4 pillars of AI strategy framework. One is vision, one is value, one is risk, and one is adoption. These visions are, these values, these risks, and these adoptions are very important from your own firm's perspective and your own client's perspective. And in the AI life cycle, that, which is applicable to you also in a big way because you will be applying AI tools, the life cycle is data preparation and curation, experimentation and evaluation, validation and deployment, and inference and feedback. So I don't want to get into all this because I'm sure you have studied all this in your AI. There is this concept called AI TRiSM. I'm sure you have also studied this. AI TRiSM means AI for trust, AI for risks management, and AI for systems management and data protection. Because you know one thing, AI also depends on many things, and if an AI also follows the principle of GIGO, that means garbage in and garbage out. If the data and the document which you are applying for using AI tool is having garbage or wrong, you will not be able to get the right kind of output. So be careful about establishing trust on the data, which in turn will establish trust of your client on you. Don't avoid the risk factor because AI can generate defects and AI can manipulate data in a big way if your machine learning algorithms are not correct. AI can get you into many legal violations. Like there are many cases going on against OpenAI, which are violating the copyrights of many people. So it has got your systems management should be highly law oriented. Now, from that perspective, let us get into why AI for valuation, which you have already come to know from me by now, because at every slide I have talked about what is the link of the slide with the AI. The why AI for valuation is coming from the word, the limitations of traditional methods. The traditional methods which we apply for valuation are subjective, having a lot of subjectivity and bias in it, which disturbs our valuation and distorts our valuation. And you apply your subjective judgment, which can be substantially reduced with the right kind of algorithms for data analytics and drawing insight. Different analysts can interpret the same data in 2 different ways. I don't want to get into details because it's just a 90-minute class. So you cannot avoid difference of opinion. Factors like personal opinion, emotions, and past experience can also influence your valuation. Analysts might have unconscious bias towards specific industries, and analysts can have subjective bias. To mitigate all this, you should have a data-driven approach, and automated algorithms can analyze large volumes and data objectivity. So the crux of this story here in this slide is human judgment error, human bias, human difference of opinion, limitations of human capability, limitations of humans' past experience, limitations of humans' knowledge about industry can be to a large extent mitigated by AI tools. That is a research report conclusion. Integrating AI into business valuation model presents significant potential to enhance the accuracy, efficiency, and dependability of valuation. This is the AI-based, this is a research-based finding of various AI projects by a researcher called MS Farahani. What is the business and equity valuation? Again, from the perspective of mantra. The mantra is that AI you can't avoid. So if the whole business world is not avoiding AI and adopting gradually AI as an important factor in their business process, you are, as a valuation expert, not an exception. So what should you do? To qualitatively enhance valuation, AI tools can normalize the data and identify complex patterns, scientifically and objectively analyze voluminous data, yet relevant data, reduce human bias, enhance accuracy, incorporate a large number of factors, which in Excel sheet or your personal work may not be possible to do, perform predictive analysis for AI specifically created for predictive modeling. And AI can also do potential risk. Now, all these are true. Normalization of data, identity of complex patterns, scientifically and objective analysis, reduce human bias, enhance accuracy, incorporate large number of factors, etc., etc. But AI can create deep fakes also, mind you. So AI can do a lot of automated data analysis, interpretation of results, interpretation of regulatory compliance, interpretation and solution of complex tasks, etc., etc. I'm sure you have studied all this in AI tools, but the issue here is the last bullet. Valuation professional, what they should do when they get into AI as a tool or various versatile tools from the universe of AI. You as a valuation professional must understand the underlying assumptions and methodologies used by AI algorithms. You should not blindly select an AI tool. You should have, that's what section 247 says, that you should be capable of using the tools and you should have knowledge. So understand the underlying assumption and methodology used by the AI for ensuring integrity. Be satisfied and sure about the integrity of the data you are using for your valuation purpose. Ensure that there is no violation of any laws and regulations which your human judgment you will apply. That means in your process of selecting the algorithms, methods and methodologies of AI, and your process of selecting the universe of data where you will ask the OpenAI, ChatGPT or Gemini to find the answers from the open source data, you should define the prompt correctly. If you don't define the prompt correctly, you'll be wrong. I'll tell you, there is a company called Pro42, which has created a database of 5,000 organizations. I know the creator of that company, and they have verbatim reproduced the annual results of various organizations in their database, which one can use, including the auditor's comments. And you must do a data fiduciary analysis, which I'm going to talk to you. This is a very important factor. Are you a data fiduciary under the DPDP Act? So let us come to the ethical aspects of AI. What is AI? This slide I have discussed with you already. The last point here is the fourth bullet on the right side down. AI can be threats for human-like cognitive abilities. It can have singularity and it can have robotic rights. But what you as a guide should do in the context of ethical issues, ethics of AI, ethical quality of its prediction. You as a valuer should have these three bullets very importantly with you. Ethical quality of its prediction. That means you should see the prediction and judge the ethical quality of it. Ethical quality of the end outcomes inferred from that. That means not only the thrown out data and the inferences. You must judge the inferences and select whether you should use this inference or modify it. And ethical quality of the impact it has on human beings. Human beings means here your stakeholders of valuation report which you are giving. So AI can negatively harm you. AI can create defects. AI can impact your own personal ability. AI can make you lazy. AI can make your thinking process slow. All these things you must avoid when you apply AI. Okay. So this is the taxonomy of AI. So look at the M1, M3, and M2, which is M1 is here. I'm sorry, my pen at the moment is not functioning, digital pen. AI, one is the physical domain. When you take data from the physical domain, you have techno-ethics. That means technology will be picking up the data from the physical domain. Then you have the information ethics. When you go for the information, suppose you are using data of certain organization which you do not ethically believe. Say comparison between Tata Group, any other group. That's like that. And the cognitive domain, that is the AI ethics, that is the tool's own ethics. So one is the technology ethics, which is other than AI technology. One is the information ethics, and one is the AI ethics, AI tools own ethics. Now, when technology ethics and AI ethics intersect each other, you get the robotic ethics of the machine. When technology and information domain intersects with each other, you get the computer ethics or information and communication technology ethics. And when the information domain and cognitive domain intersect each other, you get the computational ethics. So physical domain, information domain, and cognitive domain, through their intersections, gives you the machine ethics, computer ethics, and the computational ethics, and the AI tools ethics. When these three ethics intersect, you finally get the digital ethics, which is the center of the taxonomy. So you must be aware of the governance domain. The governance domain of your applying the AI tools is your digital ethics. I'm almost near the end of my presentation. So AI ethics issues include this. I don't need to explain to you. It is data responsibility and privacy, capacity of AI modules, transparency, fairness, and robustness of the entire process, explainability of all data when subject to scrutiny, because your valuation can be a matter of litigation in the court of laws. So you should be able to explain the data which you are using and the tools which you are using with your experience and with your capability and knowledge of the tool. Inclusion of all stakeholders. I was telling you about the valuation from a seller's perspective and a buyer's perspective. If you are doing the valuation from a seller's perspective, you cannot be unethical to the buyer who is buying it, because they are also a stakeholder to the process. Morality of all professionals who are working with you. Value alignment, where alignment of the value of the organization vis-a-vis what the market is expected to give it. Accountability from the perspective of laws, rules, and regulations. Trusteeship of all stakeholders. That means you are a trustee of all stakeholders. You are a trustee of their faith and on you. You are the professional, you are the valuation expert. So their trust you cannot violate and you cannot belie. And that is how you are the trustee. You are the trustee and you must follow the trusteeship. Transparency and interoperability of the algorithm. This is a technical issue. Environment friendly and sustainability. AI tools guzzle a lot of electricity. So you should be compensating the Mother Earth with the carbon which is being emitted for the electricity, etc. And finally, technology misuse. So from the perspective of a valuer's ethic lens, so if the valuer applies a lens of ethics, what happens? Valuation model development and evaluation should consider the existence and emergence of biases in data or in the way that models learn from features. That means data bias and the features of the model is important, and it should pass through your lens. Interoperability, if you are using more than one tool, then the tool should have interoperability among themselves in terms of data usage, applications, etc. And finally, fairness, accuracy, and ethics of outcomes. So you should apply a very strong lens of ethics in your working. You should be careful about generative AI. When you are using generative AI, be careful about the database, because if you give the prompt for using the wrong database, you will get the wrong answer. You should be careful about the hallucinating AI. Hallucinating AI means at times AI creates outputs which are too good to be believed. And it is so good to be believed that you tend to take it, but you may not be predicting, or you may not be able to identify that it's a fake. So hallucinating AI, you should be careful, and you should develop one more skill, that the output which is given by an AI tool in terms of assumptions and inferences of data, those are not fake data. Of course, hallucinating AI helps in creation of medical drugs, detection of cancer, etc. Yesterday, I made a post about it, which is a New York Times newspaper report. But hallucinating data has to be very careful about it. Sorry, I'm taking another 3-4 minutes so that we may extend our session by 5 minutes. Now, next is synthetic data. Synthetic data is a need, is a must for valuation in terms of predictive modeling. But synthetic data should be drawn from a better set of actual data in terms of prediction. So be careful about generative AI, hallucinating AI, and synthetic data. Coming to the legal part of it, as you know, from the context of applying artificial intelligence tools, there are not many legal provisions. One legal provisions I have already explained to you, which is an indirect legal provision under Section 247 Clause 1, that you should be fair and you should have capability to use those legal tools. When you are using the internal data of a company shared by the organization, you are signing an NDA. You must be careful from that legal perspective that you are not violating that NDA. And if the data are handed over to you, the digital form, then Digital Personal Data Protection Act, you should be careful about. Now, I'm sure by now you are already taking care of all the legal provisions related to NDA, which is comes under Contract Act, and professional valuers, because you become the KMP when you are a valuation consultant of the company. So Section 247 applies. I'm sure you are maintaining all those legal ethics and regulations, so there is no issue. What is important from the perspective of a DPDP Act, that is Digital Personal Data Protection Act, are two. Are you a fiduciary, or are you a data principal, or you a data processor? You are not a data principal at all, because you are not using any data created by you. Suppose you have been given for your valuation purpose certain employee data, or certain data which are in relation to expenses directly paid, or you are valuing a project where benefits are directly passed on to the employees, to the customers, to buy a credit to their account. So customers, when you are doing a valuation digital due diligence, you are getting some personal data. Here you are a fiduciary of the data and a processor of the data. In the question of statutory audit, when statutory auditors do audit, they come across various personal data, and those personal data they are using, and as audit evidence, they are preserving the data at least for 10 years, so that if any litigation comes in the context of your discharging professional responsibility as a statutory auditor or a cost auditor, you keep those. So here your fiduciary responsibility comes in, and your processor's responsibility comes in. In the context of you as a valuer, you get a whole host of data which is specific to a corporation. So you are in a fiduciary responsibility. Suppose it is proved that due to hacking of your database, your firm's database, your valuation firm's database, data of business organizations and personal data of their employees or their customers have been leaked, chances of which are less, I'll say no, there is no chance. Then you are the person responsible, because the moment the data has been handed over to you, you have assumed the fiduciary responsibility. So my last request to you to be careful about digital jurisprudence, IT and digital jurisprudence, which is there in the blue word last line, that I have suggested in 2011 in an Oracle National Conference that every single IT professional must study IT jurisprudence. And now I'm suggesting that you as valuation professionals should also study IT jurisprudence. And I will request Professor S.K. Gupta, who is your head of this institution, to also introduce a digital jurisprudence as a course or as a subject in your system. I stop there. There are 13 chat questions. May I request Dipali or Madam Kiran to kindly raise the questions? Or if you want to raise the question yourself, you can open your screen and open your microphone and ask me the questions. I finished my presentation. I had to hurry in a lot because it's just a 90-minute presentation. I thought without revisiting the technology part in my own perspective, to the extent of valuation science is concerned, we will not be able to discuss the legal and ethical part. Yes, your questions, please. Any question from you?
Good morning, sir.
Good
This is
morning.
Vaibhav Pandya.
Yeah.
Sir, I have questions relating to the data which we like if we are using ChatGPT as a software to analyze some documents which is provided by the client, like a huge 40, 50 points, maybe confidential documents, and that we upload to assess or summarize that data. We upload those on the ChatGPT. So it is a safe, or how it is, or it is we
Very
supposed to
good
avoid
question.
this?
Very good question, Mr. Pandya. If you want to create, you as a valuer want to create your own database and upload the data into your own database before you apply the generative AI, which is ChatGPT or Gemini into it, then when you are uploading, you are yourself is ensuring the integrity of the data and the correct source of the data. Suppose you are uploading the MDNA sections of the director's report of the entire FMCG sector of India into your database because you are an FMCG valuation expert. Then you are yourself using the authentic data. Now the question is, what is the tool you are using? You have licensed the ChatGPT or the Gemini tool, and you are applying that. Now the question of error can come only when your prompt to the tool is wrong. The authenticity of the data you have established, the source of the data you have established. Now, if in the MDNA section, if the company by itself gives a wrong information, which you have relied upon and to which you have applied your ChatGPT tool, it's not your fault. There, your responsibility is to see whether
Sorry to
outcome is
interrupt.
wrong.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Sir, my question is not about the reliability of data. My question is about the sharing of confidential data over a ChatGPT. If I'm uploading certain confidential, if I upload the minutes of the company to analyze, to assess, it may be of the confidential minutes of the
There is no
company.
issue because the confidential data which you are using for applying your ChatGPT tools, you are using with your own domain, right?
Yeah,
Which is
but
not
it's
a public domain.
I'm uploading the data over ChatGPT cloud or wherever it's getting uploaded. So it may
Hold
be a
on.
ethical issue.
which is this cloud? Is it a public cloud? You can't upload because you have downloaded it from some source, right? Where you will upload again?
My question is, I have received the minutes of the company and all other data to analyze, to understand the company and all, and to understand the current scenario of the company and what is what decisions they are taking and all, and I have to summarize and to understand. I have uploaded those data or Chat GPT, because Chat GPT also gives the option to summarize the document I
Correct.
upload.
Correct.
So if that document it's getting uploaded over a Chat GPT portal, so it's going on the Chat GPT portal.
That means if the Chat GPT portal is not within your own restricted domain, how can you upload a company's internal data and information into a public portal? You can't,
Yeah,
because you have signed an NDA with the company.
yeah,
You can't do that. It is not a
yeah,
digital, it is a question of digital ethics. Rather, it is a question of your professional ethics.
yeah, right.
No, what large valuation companies are doing, let me tell you. You buy the Chat GPT or Gemini or any other generative AI software and establish in your own information computing system. So
Okay,
the Chat GPT tool now is your ownership, and nobody has access to that tool and the domain of data which will be using. Then it becomes your
okay,
private domain.
okay.
Again, let me tell you, I'm not finishing my answer here. If
Yeah,
your private domain is your cloud domain, that means you hired a cloud space and there you are uploading, be careful again, because that cloud service provider has given you certain SLS. Those SLS are those protective enough to protect the private data of your client?
okay,
And do you have sufficient indemnity clause? Point number one. And point number two, have you disclosed to your client that, hey, you are giving me this data, I'll apply Chat GPT or Gemini, means generative AI tool, any generative AI tool. For that, I'll be using this data by uploading into a cloud, which is a public cloud, which I have hired under an agreement. Your client consent should be taken. There the question of your transparency comes in,
right.
right?
So even if I'm using like a licensed version of Chat GPT, which like generally available like for around 2000, you can use the monthly subscription of the Chat GPT. That is also not safe if I
No,
upload.
let me tell you one thing. Suppose you want to study the MD&A section of FMCG companies, because those are publicly available. It is open cyberspace, and you
Yeah,
want to identify certain issues which are covered by those people and summarize it. And you get an output from the Chat GPT based on your prompt. Assume that you have given a prompt, correct prompt, and you are relying upon the output given by them. There, and if a litigation comes in of you're using that cloud in your assumptions for setting valuation, then you can say, I have relied upon this. This was my prompt. This was the domain I requested to search. And then the court will say that, have you seen the output yourself, applied your judgment? If by evidence it can be proved that I told you about deepfakes, right? And hallucinating data. ChatGPT
right.
at times creates a lot of hallucinating data,
Yeah,
which are too good to be true. So there comes your skill. Because at the end of the day, who is responsible for the valuation? You. So you should be careful about it.
yeah.
You cannot blame the tool that time.
Because certain time if we just push to the Chat GPT also, they will make the wrong statement right. It
If
sometimes
you
happens.
ask me, if you ask me, I will avoid using Chat GPT first. If at all I apply my judgment and get my judgment verified by a couple of partners of my firm or couple of my clients, a couple of my good friends whom I can rely upon. Because you may be biased. The whole and sole objective of applying artificial intelligence is to remove your biasness, generate transparency, improve speed. Okay. Any other question from anybody?
Thank you, sir.
You can, if you have more question, you can put into my LinkedIn. I will answer you.
Sure. Thank you,
So
sir.
just
Because I am available in LinkedIn and no question will go unanswered. Okay. Any other question, please?
yes, sir. One question.
Yeah, another. Yes.
Many a times we can purchase storage space on the internet while using AI like ChatGPT or Gemini or whatever.
Mhm.
So, but then we don't know where those servers are and where that data is being kept. Although we have a lot of documentation saying how secure our data is and how privacy is maintained. So, what does the law say about maintaining data overseas?
Okay, a very good question. This is what exactly I faced in one of my recent consulting assignment for a non-banking financial company, NBFC. See, if you are using a public cloud, say you are using Oracle Cloud, which is the most reliable at the moment in India, and you have signed a very tight agreement in terms of security, safety of the data, and also you have a sufficient indemnification clause in it that if you incur any loss, they will indemnify you. In such a situation, Mr. Manish Shukla, I'm coming to you. Let me answer this question. So in such a situation, your job is to prove that, and cloud is in the ordinary course of doing business. So if a litigation comes in, as I replied to Pandya, you should be able to prove before the court of law through evidences that you as a professional have relied upon a cloud company and you have stored the data in the cloud of a public service provider who is by contractually bound to maintain the sufficient rigor in terms of security and safety. Even after that, if you suffer any loss, the cloud guy will indemnify you, because court cannot deny that cyber attacks will happen in the world. Even the NASA has been attacked. So your question and your anxiety is definitely bearing with facts, but you have to apply sufficient cautions as a professional to ensure that whatever professionalism you can apply in your process of storing data, you have applied. Could I answer?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Any other question? Somebody raised a question just now. Is there no authority of industry umpire who has rated the AI tools so that negative aspects like hallucinating, etc., are avoided? A very good question, Mr. R. Rajab. Could you please raise your question so that people can know, and then I will answer. Mr. Rajab, whosoever has raised this question, I can see you. Open your microphone and ask this question to me, please. Okay, understood. The question here is, the question point here is, you want to say that somebody will vouch the capability of a tool so that if you buy it and if it creates defects, you will not be criminalized. My answer there is that howsoever you rely upon the recommendations of various authorities,
इधर से U-turn कर लो 1815
you should
right
apply
now
your own
ने
judgment.
അങ്ങനെ ഒരു കാലം പേജ്
Close unwanted sounds are coming. The others should.
box
Diana Matthias, please close your microphone, please. There are two points here, Mr. Rajab, in your question. The first point is that are there umpires or recommendatory authority? Essentially, there is no such. The issue here is that you have to rely on a big brand like IBM or Google or OpenAI. The next question is the big brands tools are also generating hallucinating output and wrong outputs, defects. Section 247 tells you that you should be capable. Now, the point here is that if you are relying upon a branded product which has been 30% or 40% people in the industry has accepted that product, in the court of law, you can say that I have relied upon the tool. I am not a IT professional, so I don't know the algorithm. I have gone through so-and-so data and the so-and-so product brochure which has claimed this, and I have used this. The next question will come, which database you have used for applying the tool. There you can't deny your responsibility because selection of the data for avoiding hallucinating AI output and defects and generating AI and synthetic data, database is very important, equally important like the tools. If the database is reliable, you applied to it, I don't think there is any wrong thing and court can charge you responsible. Only thing is that you have to prove you have applied your sufficient professional inquiry, your judgment, and you have relied upon a branded product, and the product has got certain indemnities, may or may not have, I do not know, because OpenAI does not give any indemnity. So you run a risk, Mr. Rajab, you can't avoid the risk, but you can go to the court of law and say that whatever is possible by a professional to be done to avoid all these things, I have done. And if the court of law is satisfied, I think you can avoid. Okay, thank you. Any other question? Manish Shukla, there is a question from you. Conflict with confidentiality of patent or copyright with someone else when how to project this AI is reliably calculate how to project this AI is reliable calculate while presenting to outsiders. Okay, Mr. Shukla, would you like to pose your question once again so that all can see hear you? Mr. Shukla? If you don't want to, then the answer here is that confidentiality or patent. Now, suppose you are doing a contingent claim valuation. Contingent claim valuation means your client is about to get a patent which has got a huge business proposition and profit, and you are doing a contingent claim valuation to be added to the value of the main business through the process of negotiation. Suppose the main business valuation is 100 rupees and the patent business which will be done as soon as the patent registration certificate is received has got a valuation of say 15. And you say the company's valuation is 115. Your question, if I have understood correctly, the patent information access. Now, patent information access are today public. If you are trying to understand the patent of a company which is your client, then you go to the Patent Registration Authority's site. I have a patent of my own. You can go there in the American site of intellectual property of USA. You can find me. You can search by Dr. Paritosh Basu and patent. You can get it. Every damn thing about the patent is available there. So you need not rely upon even your client's information because your client's all patent related information are published in the Patent Registration Authority's website, and those are open for public to raise objection that this patent is already with me, you should not grant it again. So I don't see any anxiety there. Now becomes the question of the client's authority for that patent. Now, if the patent registration authority has registered that patent in the client's name, which is a legal authority and a governmental authority, relying on that is not an issue for you. Now, last point is whether the patent is granted or not, and whether the granting certificate is a fake. That you can do a due diligence by going to the patent registration authority's office, and they are bound to give you the answer. Could I answer you? Now, is Diana Matthias, do you have any question? Is there anybody from the institute side in this, in the
Yes,
virtual
sir.
meeting room?
Yes, sir.
My question is there any other question which I should answer, or I should close the session?
Yeah, I think there are no questions, sir. So,
There
thank
is
you so
one
much.
question I find from PGR. Sir, which AI tools are best to learn for finance professionals? Let me tell you one thing. Data analytics, ML, Institute of Cost Accountants of India runs a certification program of 6 months on advanced data analytics, etc., where data analytic tools like Python, R, etc., are used. I think you can do that course because those are for predominantly for CMA professionals. Python and R. But
Can you repeat name of the organization?
Institute of Cost Accountants of India, they have got
Cost account.
a advanced certification. It is open for non-cost accountants also. You need not be necessarily a CMA to do that program. You can do that program, and you can go for that. There are various other foreign institutions who give AI programs. Indian Institute of Management Bangalore does this program. Blockchain program is done by Indian Institute of Management Calcutta, IIM Calcutta. But I personally feel you should do it from a reputed institution. Finally, you should get associated with a company which, as intern, whatever may be your age, there is no substitute of application-oriented learning. So you should go and learn the tool before you apply for valuation, after finishing the course.
Thank you, sir. Thank
you, sir.
Thank
Any
you.
other
So,
question?
thank you, sir, because we have some limited time. So, because next faculty is already joined.
Okay.
So
Thank you very much indeed. And if you have any query, anything, you can always raise a question to me through LinkedIn, and I'll be there to answer you. Thank you very much indeed, and namaskar.
Namaskar, sir. So we have our next guest faculty, Dr. Nidhi.